So the Atlas base had plenty of drama to talk about in this chapter. But first I wanted to talk about actually Ironwood's message because that connects with Ironwood and the Atlas base. We start off the chapter with re-listening to Ironwood's message to Team RWBY, and we see that Atlas heard the whole thing, even the people underground, and also Mantle actually heard that message. Which, when I saw that, it was pretty messed up because imagine hiding in a tunnel, trying to get away from Grimm, and then suddenly you hear basically the president of your country use you for leverage. So yeah, it was pretty messed up to see Mantle having to hear everything that that Ironwood was saying. But something I did like was the two moms from earlier. If you guys remember, you had the fox mom and then the human mom that had to deal with her racist mom. Apparently those guys throughout this whole conflict have grown closer and closer together, and I really like that just because of the little details in the background. That's not really something you see in a lot of shows, honestly. A consistent story going on in the background with no words and barely any attention paid to it, but it's just that little detail in the background that I really like. Like you see the kids basically introduced both moms, and then both moms throughout this whole story, you can imagine, got closer and closer and closer to the point where they're hugging each other for comfort. I'm already seeing some people talking about how they could possibly, like, fall in love during this whole crisis. So like, just that, I feel like just putting those little hints of detail and then letting the community have fun with whatever theory they want, and that not really having anything to do with the story, but just a little bit of fun and a little bit of detail. That's something that I just really liked, and I don't really see a lot in shows. So it's really cool that Rooster Teeth does this. Going back to the Aesops though, we're starting to really see a bit of discourse among the group, because you have Elm and Vine, who seem to be more hesitant about Ironwood's plan. Like, Elm actually thought that Ironwood was bluffing. It's like, he's not actually gonna blow up Mantle. That would be crazy. And then Marrow is trying to convince these guys that no, Ironwood is no doubt serious, that he's gonna actually blow up Mantle. And then Vine was hesitant, but he tried to convince himself that this was necessary. Meanwhile, Harriet, she apparently just doesn't care. Like, blow up Mantle, blow up Mistral, blow up Haven. We don't, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever the general wants, we'll do it. And I'm really wondering where she got this mindset from. Because in the beginning of the volume, like when Ironwood shot that councilman, she seemed shocked. But here she was like, just like, I don't really care. So to have that mindset, I'm wondering what changed. And if it was always there and maybe I just didn't notice, then I'm wondering why she believes Ironwood so much that she will like go behind whatever he says. Like, I really do need like an explanation from her, because just having her go like, I don't care that a bunch of people are going to get killed, I'm wondering where this came from. We already know that Marrow is against this. Harriet is 100% for this. Meanwhile, Vine and Elm seem very on the fence with this. Like, Vine is trying to convince himself, but you can tell that he's a little bit of he's a little afraid. And then Elm, I feel like she is like kind of in denial at this point. So it does seem like those two have the potential to end up on Ruby's team when the final battle ends up happening. Soon after, Ironwood and Winter walking in the conversation, and it's interesting to see that Winter seems to still be his right-hand man, especially after she let Yang and the others escape. But she does seem to still have that trust, because she is able to trick Ironwood into just basically letting Marrow live, because he was planning on killing him, which is crazy. Good on Marrow for sticking up for himself, though. I do like that we're finding, like, we're moving on with this, and he's taking the next step and not just still like hiding his feelings, that we're actually moving on forward with this. Winter punches Marrow, gets him out of the way, convinces Ironwood that she's gonna lock him up, and I feel like she actually was gonna lock him up, maybe like let him cool his head, because I don't know if she was like right then and there planning on overthrowing Ironwood. But it seems like they were heading to the prison, because I'm sure that the one that Qrow and Robyn end up meeting is actually going to be Marrow and Winter. So there's a chance that we can get that team up there. Speaking of Robyn and Qrow, though, we see Qrow and Robyn getting their weapons back. Qrow's blade has been cleaned off. I was expecting the blood to still be on there so they can do, like, I don't know, forensic shit. But it seems like they cleaned that thing off for him. Very nice of them. And now they're ready to go. They put the cameras on loop, and apparently Qrow wanted to head straight for Ironwood. I really doubt that Qrow is going to end up killing Ironwood. I feel like that's just not the way that it's going to go. I feel like this is very different from Adam, who is the only other character that a hero has killed on screen, I'm pretty sure. While Adam was more like, always the antagonist, always the abuser. Ironwood started off as a good person, so I feel like it leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and maybe even the writers themselves, if they just end up having Qrow or RWBY or someone kill Ironwood. I really feel like if anybody's going to end up killing Ironwood, it's going to be somebody on Salem's team and not somebody on RWBY, because we still have those memories of Ironwood when he was in Volume 2 and Volume 3, and while he was a little over the top there, he was still a good friend to Ozpin, a good friend to Glinda. He was a good man, and he was just trying to do what's right. I'm a little bit confused over the argument between Qrow and Robyn, though. I'm not really 100% sure what they were arguing about. Were they arguing about Qrow trying to kill Ironwood, or were they arguing about Qrow just going in guns a-blazing? Because either way, there's something wrong with that. For one thing, if Robyn is trying to convince Qrow to not kill Ironwood, I'm really confused as to why. Because throughout all of Volume 7, she seemed to be the one that goes against the law and is willing to do whatever it takes to save Mantle. And now Mantle has a bomb to their necks. And you would think that she would be like, yeah, okay, let's kill him so he doesn't detonate the bomb. I'm really confused as to why Robyn would be like, no, killing him is the wrong thing to do. And honestly, I would expect her to be one of the people that's like, yeah, sure, let's kill him. If it is because of Robyn just not wanting to go in guns a-blazing because there's a risk that Ironwood would switch the bomb on, why is Qrow against that? Like, he should be fine with it, because Robyn is not saying you can't kill the man, just do it stealthily, like, Hitman or something. But for some reason, Qrow doesn't like that plan, that he just wants to go guns in and blazing. Like, there's a chance that going in head first isn't even going to work. So you would think that he would be open to a plan that, gets him closer to Ironwood. So I'm a little bit confused as to what they were arguing with. And if it's either of those things, it's a bit confusing as to why there's an argument in the first place. Because Robyn should be okay with Qrow wanting to kill Ironwood, because she should be focused on Mantle like she always has been. Qrow should be okay with Robyn saying, let's find a stealthier, smarter way to finding Ironwood, because going in head first is going to end up getting a bunch of people killed, and maybe even yourself, and then you won't be able to kill Ironwood. So I'm a little bit confused as to what the discourse is between those two. Also, I don't like how Robyn brought up Clover. Like, don't get me wrong, it's very clear that Clover had his faults. He was somebody that didn't really trust his own judgment, I believe, and just trusted the person higher than them because they were higher than them in the ranking. So that means they must know what they're doing. I believe that's what was going on through Clover's mind. I don't think he was ever doing anything to be bad or evil, Even though I remember there were some theories about Clover possibly being evil, but it ended up him just being a really good guy who was just similar to Qrow back in the day, in the wrong spot. So just bringing back his name in order to kind of like not drag it through the mud, but just like put a little salt on it. I felt like that was a little weird for someone to do, and for that to be in the show, because especially since Qrow is still, I guess, mourning Clover's death. You would think that, bringing his name up just to be like, oh yeah, you're better than him. It's like, what? What's the point that you're trying to make here? I mean, I understand that you're saying that, hey, you proved to be the better huntsman. Don't prove me wrong. But why bring Clover's name into this? Why bring it down like that? He wasn't a bad person that did something wrong. He was just someone that trusting in the system, and really not saying there's anything wrong with that, because this was back during early days before Ironwood shot a councilman, before he threatened a whole city with a bomb. So at this point in time, really the only thing that he did that was wrong was try and bring Qrow in for custody, which honestly, he didn't even start the fight. Robyn did. So I don't really understand why bringing up his name and putting some salt on it. Like, I don't understand what was the point of that at all. And honestly, I didn't really like it at all. It was like, don't speak ill of the dead, especially if the dead didn't really do anything wrong. And then finally, like I said, Winter and Marrow, I feel like they're the ones that meet up with Clover. I'm not gonna say it was Raven this time. No, I do think it's Winter and Marrow, and they're gonna all team up. I think Winter was gonna bring Marrow to a jail cell just so he can cool down and get away from Ironwood. But I feel like with some talking, they can convince her to switch sides and fight Ironwood.